everybody. Welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start up with my bag of words to see what I'm inspired to share. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, remorse. First word is remorse. All right, let me see what else. Loneliness. Interesting, loneliness. And one more word. Empower. Okay. So, remorse. Let's see. Let me take a minute. Remorse. You know, sometimes we do things in the heat of the moment and we get so caught up with whatever we're feeling in that moment that we don't take the time to pause. We just react, right? Like on automatic pilot, we, just react. And we say things, we do things, and things happen because of it. And in that moment, we're so caught up, we're not really paying attention to the outcome, the many possible outcomes. In other words, right, where this can take us unintentionally because we're moving. We're not pausing. We're just going and going and going. We've allowed our emotions to take over. We've reacted and we've taken off. And when we do that, we usually have some form of remorse because when we slow down or take a pause, we are able to see that maybe I didn't handle myself in the best way. Maybe I could have done this, right? We start to see other ways and that we could have showed up or that we could have handled things. But that was the best we had at the moment. So we have to remember, right, that yes, while this wasn't probably the best choice or obviously our only choice, that it was the best we had in that moment. So we want to remind ourselves to be gentle with ourselves, because when we're gentle with ourselves, we don't beat ourselves up and take ourselves further down the rabbit hole. In other words, once we start beating ourselves up, like, oh, I messed up, I shouldn't have done that, I always do that, and blah, 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 right? And we start going in that direction, we're going to feel really heavy emotionally, and it isn't going to feel good to us. And it is not going to do us any good either, because once we're feeling even lousier, then we're more likely to fall into, a feeling of loneliness, or turning into our bad habits, meaning whatever it is that we usually turn to self-soothe with or to cope with, we're more likely to turn, to that as well. And next thing you know, we're going to feel even worse, because now it's like, oh, now I'm also doing this, to myself and so forth. So we don't want to go into, maladaptive ways of self-soothing or to cultivate a sense of loneliness within ourselves, because we have spoken so badly about ourselves or felt so bad about ourselves that, we start to cultivate this sense of loneliness or unworthiness, and it takes us in a real yucky space, right? Because now we're doing things also that we're also trying to move away from, meaning unhealthy maladaptive habits, right? We don't no longer want to go in that direction, but we find ourselves doing it because we're feeling yucky. And when we feel yucky, right, this is our go-to, our comfort, and so forth. So to break that pattern, right, we want to do something that empowers us, that shifts us from that direction. And brings me back, right, the best way to start with that is to, when we catch ourselves going in that direction, is to pause and to be gentle with yourself, to practice self-forgiveness, and to say, I forgive myself for throwing a tantrum. I forgive myself for acting out. I forgive myself for betraying myself. I forgive myself for whatever it is that you feel remorse over doing. And when you forgive yourself, right, and you remind yourself, that was the best I had in that moment, right? It doesn't mean that it's okay, you want to continue doing that. It means that you're acknowledging that human aspect of yourself, and that it's not always going to be perfect, right? That you can use that moment and that experience to learn from, to grow from, and then you can, right, shift into exploring that more, like what motivated that behavior, so that you can understand, right, where you were coming from or what was triggering you, and then you can shift into working through it and thinking about what to, how to handle yourself next time, right? You can start creating a picture of how you want to handle yourself when you do get stressed out, when you do get overwhelmed, or when you do feel hurt, and so forth, right? But now you're in an empowering direction as opposed to a direction that's going to bring you more feelings of loneliness and isolation and yucky, heavy emotions. All right, so I hope that helps you in some way and that you have a beautiful day. Bye for now.